Talk. Jazzie K.Ward. Jazzie After Dark presents Artist Talk. A live one-on-one conversation. 30 minutes of pure entertainment with musicians, writers, and actors to motivators, chefs, and even rappers to up-and-comings with the it factor. It's the Jazzie K.Ward coming at ya. Have fun, some smiles, a few laughs. Tune in, chime in, sit back, relax. Have fun, some smiles, a few laughs. Jazzie After Dark.
What's going on, everyone? Welcome to another edition of Artist Talk Jazzie After Dark. I am Jazzie K.Ward. Happy Monday to everyone. I hope you had a great weekend. My weekend was great. And while we are talking about that, make sure you jump over to K.Ward Radio 6084, which is my YouTube channel, where you can also, where the show is streaming at. Also, kwardradio.com is the website. So make sure you go over there and sign up, subscribe, like the page. And just in case tonight, if we cannot see the comments on my Jazzie K.Ward page, make sure you can also follow us on our YouTube channel, which is K.Ward Radio 6084. Make sure you like the page. Like the page, subscribe. It's free. And if you don't do any of that, as we say on the show, shame on you. My lovely co-host, the lovely Dr. Shontell Graham, hopefully she can join us tonight. She's traveling, so hopefully she'll pop in a little bit throughout the show. So safe travels to Dr.G. We always look forward to speaking with her and hanging out with her. And we always look forward each and every Monday is hanging out with you guys. And so tonight, if you have questions, if you have comments, make sure you post them there in the chat for our guest, and we will do our best to answer those questions for you. So are you ready to kick off Artist Talk? Let's go ahead and start the show right now.
Live from WKRW, welcome to Artist Talk, a live one-on-one conversation with your host, the man with the golden voice, Jazzie K.Ward.
Hey, everybody, welcome back to the show. We're super excited tonight for another great conversation with our special guest, musician. He's a composer. This brother definitely has that it factor. And before I show you a little video about our special guest, which is recording artist Shelby Brown tonight. Now, he's a saxophone player who speaks louder. The saxophone for him, I would say, speaks louder than words. And trust me, it says a lot. He's hailing from Detroit. Shelby has been making waves in the smooth jazz world since his debut album, Miracle, dropped and climbed the charts. He's played at legendary venues. He's collaborated with some of the best in the business. He recently dropped a brand new single called Gravity that you need to hear, and you will hear a snippet of that tonight. On top of all that, he's a proud Sigma. He's a dedicated family man and one of the coolest people, I promise you, you'll meet in jazz. So I'm super excited to have him on the show tonight. And so let's take a little sneak peek at just a little bit of his performance right here on Artist Talk. You see what I'm saying? You see what I'm saying? I taught Shelby everything that he knows. He'll tell you that. He might tell you just a little bit of that. But before we introduce him, I think Dr.G just popped in. And so we want to say hey to Dr.G. We want to bring her into space.
In the room. Come on in. Hello, everyone. Sorry I'm a little late, but you know, when you got to work and travel.
I understand. Don't you look lovely, Dr. G?
Yeah, in this hotel room, making sure my neighbors don't act the fool, because y'all know I'm still professional. Professional. That's the word, professional.
Hey, Kenneth Wynn is on the line, Dr. G.
Hey, look, Kenneth is one of our biggest supporters. Appreciate you, Ken. Ken win. Make that a radio station. Ken win. Although that's too close to 10 wins. Okay. No, okay, we're gonna leave it alone.
And we have to check on our friend too, Dr. G. I have not seen Colleen in a while.
We do. Colleen has been a great supporter of this show, and she shows up no matter what. So we got to check on her. People, check on your friends. Check on your strong friends. We take that for granted that our strong friends are just strong. Sometimes we got to check on those strong friends because they have stuff going on too.
They do. I know. And you saw, Dr. G, that snippet of Shelby, right?
Well, actually, Shelby, I was playing for him. I just gave him the credit that, but it's all right. We'll let Shelby have it today, but it's okay.
I think I've been looking for this wonderful conversation. Does it seem like I'm buffering? Am I okay?
You're a little buffering, a little hesitant, but
I'm okay. Okay.
You're getting there. You're getting there.
I'm getting there. It's been like storming here. It just stopped storming. So I don't know if that's why.
Yeah, I'm in Florida, and it rained and then everything go away and then the sun come out and the skies were like nothing ever happened.
Yeah. So that's what's going on. But this is not going to stop this conversation with my friend, recording artist and saxophonist, Mr. Shelby Brown. So without further ado, let's bring him on in the room, yo.
Hey. How's everybody?
We are so good, my brother. How you doing?
Man, I am fantastic. Dr. G, it is nice to meet you.
Yes. You just watch out for my sax in the back. Don't let nothing happen to my sax in the back hanging up there.
Oh, man. Hey, what you do with it? Go ahead and pull it out and let me hear a little bit.
I'm going to drink this water.
Right.
Well, Shelby, again, welcome to the show, my brother. This is long overdue. Me and Shelby caught up a little bit on yesterday. And I always say, all things happen in divine timing. So, again, brother, thank you so much for taking the time out of your busy schedule, hanging out with myself and Dr. G.
Hey, thank you so much, man. And listen, I didn't do this yesterday during our small conversation, but listen, thank you so much, because I remember when we connected, I think it was a year ago or maybe 2 years ago. I sent you this track that I did. I did a cover tune by Chico DeBarge called
No
No
guarantee.
Guarantee. Yeah, man. And you was rocking that, boy, man. I appreciate that. So to the point that Chico actually dropped a message in my messenger and was like, dude, you killed it. So I appreciate that, man.
You are so welcome, my brother. I mean, I don't know if y'all remember that song, and I don't know if tonight, if Chef D, if you can find it tonight, because I didn't have that one pulled up. But matter of fact, I played it on a TikTok video, and I got some messages, and people was like, "Oh wow, I remember that song by Chico DeBarge," and I said that was a tight song. And I'm trying to figure, was Joe featured in that song with him?
Joe was in there. So how I did it was I actually sampled their voices.
Wow.
So when I was doing the recording, because when I do covers, a friend told me a long time ago that when you do covers, you have to do them better than the originals.
Right.
So to keep some of that authenticity there, in the middle of the song, when you hear them go, "Life has no guarantees," that's Chico and Joe going back and forth off of the original recording.
Oh
And
wow.
I sampled in there, and then I took it off from there. So yeah.
Oh wow.
Genius. Simply genius. Simply genius.
Yeah. Yeah, well, you know what? I think I did that. I think I actually did the recording right around COVID. And so you didn't have nothing but
Mm.
time, right? I was in the house, and it was nothing to do but practice, and make and write music. So, I was able to pull that off because I had nothing else to do, right? I had nothing but time on my hands. So yeah.
Right.
See, for me, it was different for COVID. I never stopped working. We just kept doing surgeries. And I think the worst part of it is they were going to shut one of my centers down to confiscate the anesthesia machines to use as ventilators. And right up to the hour before, they said, never mind. But again, what do I have in the OR playing all the time is music. That gets us through it all.
Yes, yes, yes. Music is therapy and healing to the soul. Yes.
Agree.
It
Agree.
really is, my brother. And so, Shelby, before we really get into like the meat of the show, I
Mhm.
do this segment called The Real You. So I'm just going to ask you maybe about 3 questions
Okay.
about, you know, provocative, innovative questions about wisdom, about life, just whatever it may be. So don't get nervous, okay?
Sure.
I'm trying to use these big words, provocative, innovative. Okay, let's go.
Dr. G, that's so funny. So my first question is, what's one lesson you learned about music that took you years to truly understand?
To take your time to do it right. That was the biggest lesson. Um, you know, one of my mistakes early on in getting started was I put the cart way in front of the horse, way in front of the horse. And, I wanted to play this music so bad that, I started recording records and getting in the studio when I was really unprepared to do that. And as a result of that, it was 2 lessons I learned. One was that I can actually do this, because it didn't, in my eyes, the record was horrible. When I listen back to it now, I cringe, but the record was terrible back, at least in my opinion. I'm man enough to say that it was not that great, but it taught me that I can do it because people listened to it and they liked it, and it wasn't just my family. So, who will tell you anything, right? Yeah, it's great, because mom and dad want to support you. But I actually had people that liked it, and that taught me that I can do it. On the flip side, it was like it exposed you, because the tape don't lie. It's like Ben Wallace used to say years ago when he played for, not Ben Wallace, Rasheed Wallace, when he
And
said
she was.
for the Pistons, the ball don't lie, right? And so the tape don't lie. And so when you listen to it, I was like, okay, I got a lot of work to do. So the biggest lesson was to just take your time, do your push-ups and sit-ups, so that you can do it right the first time.
Okay. I love that. I love that. Very creative. Another question I thought about today. If the world stopped and listened to one message from you, what would it be?
To not to lose your humanity. I think that's a big issue in the world today, is that, you know, we don't have any sympathy or empathy for people, and that we look at people as objects now and not as human beings. You have to bring the humanity back in the equation, and I think that if we did that, if the world did that, you know, we would be a lot better off,
In a better place.
in a
Yep.
better place. Bring the humanity. We have to be, you know, humane to each other. That would be my message.
You got to remember too, most people, when they are objecting to something, it's not because they're objecting to that. It's just a matter of, I wouldn't do that. They're putting themselves in that person's place. So they have to stop being judgmental because it's not you and we didn't ask you. So if you
Mhm.
hashtag sit your ass down somewhere, if the world would be a little bit better, it would be a little bit better. So
Abs-
I'm just saying,
Absolutely, I don't disagree. I think, and I think that that's broad. It carries a broad perspective throughout all professions,
yes,
nationalities, creeds, ethnicities. You know, we have to be remember that we're human beings, and that,
yep.
you know, some of us, we fall on, you know, we have trials and tribulations that we encounter. Some of us are better at navigating those than others, and for us that are good at navigating those things, you know, I think it's imperative to maybe teach or drop a nugget, or a gem, as the young people call it, drop some gems to those that
Mhm.
are not as understanding, so that we can help pull each other along. You know, it's just about all about humanity, just being honest and true with each other.
Okay.
See, I have the biggest problem with that every year around this time in July. When you get those new set of residents that come in, that they thinking that they have risen, and whatever happens that is great belongs to them. And I have to tell them all the time, no one's impressed that you are a doctor but you and your mother.
I'm impressed.
You and your mother. Because if you come in with that bad attitude, you got people don't come to the hospital, they don't come to the doctor because I have nothing else to do. I feel great. I'm gonna go have an MRI CAT scan done. People don't do that. They're here because they got stuff going on. You have to be cognizant of that and make sure that everybody gets treated. I don't believe in VIP patients.
Mhm,
Whoever's in front of me at that time is a VIP
mhm.
patient. And we forget
Absolutely.
that humanity part. So it's so true. And it happens across everyone. But again, hashtag sit your ass down somewhere.
I like that. I'm gonna
Hashtag
use that.
SYA. Look, hashtag SYADSW.
That's right.
Sit your
Sit your
ass
ass
down
down.
somewhere.
I know that's
Forever.com.
Yeah, you know,
Okay.
some things just need to be said. I like that. You know, sit your ass down someplace.
That's Dr. G's slogan.
And that's a good slogan to have. And so true, man, because I think that's, you know, if we can solve that one problem, then I think, you know, we'd be in a much better place. Culturally, we'd be in a lot better place. Especially in our, because we have I hate to call it, use that old um, slogan, crab in the barrel mentality, but you know, it's there. It's everywhere in music and life. You know, it's everywhere. And you know, the truth is, have a little humanity. You know, I remember when I was in my old life. Um, I used to be in law enforcement in my old life. Graduate after I got out of the military for the first time, and I came home, and I remember, you know, the chief came in Detroit, where I was a resident, or still is a resident of. He came in one day, and his speech to us was, "It costs you nothing to be nice to people."
Yeah.
And I was like, wow, you know, I had never heard that before. You know, my whole, you know, thought of the police was that, you know, it was this force that get the move with this autonomy that goes unchecked. But you know, he said that it costs you nothing to be nice to people. Drinking is not a hobby. Those was his words. And drinking is not a hobby. And I was like, okay, you know, and I held on to that for like 30 years. You know, it's 30 years later, and I'm still using that. It costs nothing to be nice to people.
I'm gonna add one to that, Jazzy. It costs you nothing to share. Hashtag share my shit. That's why I ain't rich.
That's right.
All right, I'm sorry. We're going to just move on. I'm sorry.
That's right.
I like
That's
that.
right. That's right. Everybody, by the sound of my voice, please share the video. Share the video. Share the live. Place comments there. Also, if you're watching on YouTube, if you're watching on Jazzie K.Ward, and make sure you post your comments. If you have questions for our guest recording artist, Shelby Brown, out of the Detroit, Michigan area. We're so excited to have him as a special guest on the show tonight. And my final question for the real you is, how do you push through fear?
Wow. So, you know, that's not a fair question to me, but and I say that for this reason. You know, from birth, I guess, you know, young boys, at least back in my era, was taught that, you know, if you bumped your head, you just rubbed it, you didn't cry, right? And then you join the military and they tell you you're invincible, right? And they put you in these positions to where you can these positions to where, you know, it's incredible. It's almost impossible to encounter. In fact, there's this slogan that I came across a couple of years ago, and I read it, and I thought to myself, I was like, this deep, and it went like this. It says that we send our bravest, who are unqualified, to do the impossible for the ungrateful. And I was like, man, that is a very powerful statement. But when you think about it, you know, when you're a 19-year-old kid and you're in this situation, you're not afraid of anything because this person has told you, you know, and programmed into you that you know, you can jump out this helicopter and nothing's going to happen to you, right? Or that you can, you know, stand in front of this person, and then you come home and you join the police department. I'm just talking about my experience. You come home and you join the police department and you have the same mentality, and you stand in front of all of this adversity and this conflict and this chaos, and you know, you cycle through it and you just move through it like it's just not there, only to realize that when you retire, you go, wow, man, how did I make it through that? You know what I mean? But through all of that, I can tell you that music was the thing that kept me planted. If I wasn't able to play that horn, whether it be in church or in front of people, man, I don't know where I would be. I'm gonna just be totally, you know, people, you know how you meet people and they say, you know, what would you do if this was the last thing on earth? You know, what would you do? I have to have my horn to keep me sane, because if I didn't, I would be a mess. I really would. I don't know if, I think a whole lot of musicians can say that. Man, if it wasn't that, literally saved my life. Because again, remember I told you, when I first joined the police department, they told us drinking was not a hobby. That was not the answer. That's basically that was not the answer. And to find something to do to keep your sanity. And for me, because I was a musician, that's what I leaned into. So that's, yeah, man. That's how I face fear. I just pushed through it. And then we're taught, I've been taught my whole life, never anticipate the ambush, just know it's coming and you fight through it when it happens, right? And so if you take that, I know that sounds kind of full of machismo, but the truth is, when you really think about it, what happens in your ordinary life when, you know, you just paid this bill and then your car broke down? You got to fight through it. You know what I mean? Or when you're in the OR and you snip something by accident. Not that Dr.G would do that, but
whoa,
you know, yeah, you know,
or that has not happened. Thank God.
I'm gonna say this. You know, in my past life, I was a combat medic, and so I graduated. I went to respiratory school, so I know how to do ABGs. And I remember when I did a blood gas, I went through a person's arm. What do you do, right? You fight through the adversity, right? And so, you know, that's my $30 answer.
We love that.
I love it. Behold, just so you know, this is a disclaimer. Just so you know, Dr. Graham does not go around snipping anything that she's not supposed to snip. She everything in chat. She has, you can Google it. She has no malpractice lawsuits against her. No, I'm just playing.
That's right. Dr. G got steady hands.
No, but listen, but life is life, and you have to look at some things. Things happen, and you have to be prepared to realize that you have to shuffle and make that shift. Think about it. If the word pivot means a lot, because if you walk straight, you're going to walk either off the end of the earth, you're going to walk into an ocean. But if you make that one little shift and
Yes.
pivot, it
Yes.
just changes the dynamic of everything. So we all got to know how to pivot a little bit.
Yes. Absolutely. 1000%.
So thank you, Shelby. That wasn't too bad. The real you. That wasn't too bad one.
No, man. I hope I went too deep.
Listen, this is a conversation that this is who you are. It's never too deep. It's just Shelby.
Sure.
And so, everyone that is tuning into the show, wherever you're watching, thank you so much for joining myself, Jazzie K.Ward, and of course, the lovely Dr. Shontell Graham, as we call her on the show, Dr. G. But our special guest tonight is saxophonist and composer and musician, Mr. Shelby Brown, is hanging out with us tonight. He's going to be talking, his music career, how things got started. Of course, his website is shelbybrownjazzmusic.com, which will be streaming throughout the show. You see it right there. Make sure you go over to the page, check it out, subscribe to his website. You can find him on social media. You can find him on IG. You're also on Twitter. What else are you on, Chip?
TikTok, Facebook, the usual.
And he's also back. He also has a new song out. It's called Gravity.
Yes.
It's called Gravity. We're going to talk about that. We're going to hear a snippet of that. Before we get into all of that, since Dr. G does a segment called Mind, Body, and Soul. And we're going to kick off that first, and we're going to have more conversation with Shelby Brown right here on Artist.
It's time for Health and Wellness Check-In with Dr. Shontell Graham. Tips for the mind, body, and soul.
So you guys know that I'm traveling. Bring Jazzie back. Jazzie cannot take a break and go away because I got some conversation for the lovely Mr. Jazzie K.Ward.
What? Me?
Yes, sir. So no, I'm not gonna quiz you today. Well, I'm gonna ask you a question, but I'm not gonna quiz you. When we talk about turmeric, what is the first thing you think about when we talk about turmeric?
Turmeric, I think about either tea or spices.
Okay. And it's a wonderful spice. And this is a spice that's known around the world for its high anti-inflammatory problems. And we love what it does. It helps relieve pain and stress and all that other good stuff. But there's a couple of things that people don't realize how good turmeric is. And all you have to do is incorporate 1/8 of teaspoon into your diet daily. Turmeric has been on the rise for preventing and reversing dementia.
Oh,
That's
well,
what the new studies are telling us. So turmeric has we call curcumin in it. And the one thing you have to do is take turmeric with black pepper, helps to dissolve and absorb that good stuff. But that curcumin helps to alleviate a lot of stuff when it comes to dementia. Also, what turmeric is good for too, it's a metal chelator. What does that mean, chelator? It's a metal chelator. It takes those toxic metals in your body and draws them out. So it's going to do that. It also helps and strengthens those motor neurons and get rid of that amyloid plaque that builds up that's linked to not just dementia, but also Alzheimer's and Parkinson's. So get off the bike, get you some good turmeric, take it with black pepper. You can take it in a pill form. You can make your own pills. Go buy turmeric, buy some black pepper, mix it up, and get the little vegan caps. Take some. That's it. Save yourself a lot of problems. So right now, I feel like I got dementia some days because I talk to crazy people all the time. And I think talking to them just kill my brain cells. But that's nothing to do with it. But just saying. Just saying.
Gee, I feel like I need turmeric. I don't know, because my friend said, because I just hit that 50 mark in April, right? And I feel like I need the turmeric. I don't know if it's the hustle and bustle of work, but I'm just like forgetful about a lot of stuff.
That just means that you're forgetful. No, I'm just playing. But no, the turmeric is great for helping build those things. Also, if you happen you get a little brain fog or memory loss, ginkgo is also great when it comes to memory loss and kind of focusing back on your memory. That's also a good herb you can take. And all these things are natural. They're found in the earth. You can't have an allergy to certain things because it's always been here. Stop taking all that Western medicine and get back to the root of the problem. Get it, turmeric root of the problem. No, that was corny. I was reaching. I was reaching for that one. Reaching a little too far for that one. But yeah, but turmeric is a great way to put in. And it's also going to reduce that oxidative stress in your body. So all those things that are associated with that, get you some turmeric. Get it in today. An eighth of a teaspoon is all you need. Put it in your soups, put it in your stews, season your food, eat it with your chicken or your shrimp or your fish. For those who's vegetarian or vegan, you can put it with your vegetables. It's a great seasoning. So look at that. Focus on that.
I love that. And so just to kind of segue back to that, my word for the week is, can you see that? It's elevation.
Elevation. We have to all elevate each other. You know, stop being gatekeepers. When you hear about something and you find about something that's good, please share. And I want to take a moment to say, you know, when Shelby was talking, I said, you know, we also about to check on your strong friends. I want to say thank you to you, Jazzie. I want to say thank you to you, Chef, because you guys do this platform. You guys work hard in the background for these people, and they don't pay us.
Well,
Just the crickets. Look, no, but we do it. But we do it because we have the love of what we do. We love music. We love to share. So people don't do this a lot. People always looking for what am I going to get out of it. So if you do it for that reason, hashtag shame on you. We just do it for the pure love. We do take PayPal and Cash App, and I take bribes. I'm not ashamed to say it because if I become a politician, you're not going to tell my story. I'm going to tell my own story. But I'm just saying. But I do want to say seriously, thank you, because we get on this, we do this every week. We don't ask for anything. We just believe in hashtag sharing other people's shit.
That's all. That's all we want. So KWardRadio.com, KWard Radio 6084 YouTube, Dr. G at the App Life, which is also streaming there. You can follow Dr. G. Also, our special guest, Shelby Brown, jazzmusic.com is the website. Just share it. Sharing is caring. And
I know a lot of you guys come on because you have that special friend that's that guest for the week, and that's great, and we appreciate that. Thank you for the love. But come on back now. You're here. We're here next week and week after that. Come back just like we have Shelby, who is a great artist. We have other artists that comes on here. So just share the love. Share the love.
We love that, Dr. G. And Dr. G, let them know what's the best way to find you.
You can find me on the, no, I'm just playing. I was about to start rapping.
Maybe you can be on Shelby's next album.
I know. Listen. My website is theapplife.info. My email is again is simple, Dr. Graham at theapplife.info. I'm on social media now. I did the little combo thing. I'm gonna get that up posted soon. App Life for the win. So it's Dr. G at App Life for the win. We're combining the App Life and that nonprofit that we have that's trying to help other people and that diversity in healthcare, the things that we don't get. People need to have that advocate, and we're gonna be that for them.
I love it, Dr. G. You heard that Mind, Body, and Soul segment each and every Monday from Dr. G. And again, Dr. G, I think it's time for us to get into the conversation with our guest, Mr. Shelby Brown, and let's bring him back into the room.
Come on in the room.
Hey, I'm back.
So,
hey, Doc. Can I say this before you guys start, please? I love it. I participate in holistic stuff all the time. And I heard you say you mentioned ginkgo. I take lion's mane, L-theanine.
Yes.
You know, I'm into all of that to try to stay healthy, to keep my mind focused. So thank you for that. He said, Jazzie said tea when you thought turmeric, and I was over here. I was like inflammation. You know, I was thinking I was there for real. I love it. I love it.
And everybody loves to hype up turmeric about its anti-inflammatory properties, and that's great. I mean, that does a great job for us all around. But the fact that it pulls those toxic metals out of our body, and you may think, I don't have no toxic metals. If you have a filling in your mouth from a dentist, you have toxic metal in your body. That's just starting with basic stuff. You have all these things you intake, and you eat with preservatives. It pulls all that stuff out of you. And again, dementia is on the rise. I think people give me dementia because I lose brain cells talking to them. But you know, I'm gonna get some turmeric. I'm gonna double mine up. I'm gonna do double that. I'm gonna do a whole quarter of a teaspoon.
Right. Just eat the whole root. It's okay.
Yeah.
Just eat the whole root.
Yeah,
I love it. So, I try to stay healthy, work out, drink, but I need to drink maybe take a little bit more herbs and stuff, maybe.
See, all I heard was I need to drink, and I was like, "What you drinking? What's that you drink?" I heard drink. I'm like, that's not part of the healthy. But you mean drinking more stuff? Okay, I was like, you drink? What you drink? Okay, never mind. Okay, I got it. And
And
juicing is a good way to get minerals too, because you can get a lot of nutrients by juicing because it's just
Yep.
compact, and then your body absorbs it much better. But for those who have stomach issues like ulcers and things like that, be careful with turmeric because it has the same properties of Advil. It can cause stomach bleed. So make sure you coat your stomach with something before you take it, like milk. If you don't want to drink whole milk, just oat milk, cashew milk, take something. Eat a piece
Okay.
of bread.
gotcha. I
Gotcha.
love that, Dr. G.
I love it. I
And
love it. Yes.
yeah. And so also to go back, I wanted to, this is the last day, of course, June was Black Music Month, celebrating Mount Black Music Month, which I'm always listening to music. And I thought about it today, marked the 30-year anniversary of the passing of the late, great Phyllis Hyman.
Oh,
Wow.
wow.
40 years, which I never got the opportunity to ever see her in concert. Never. I mean, I listen to her music all the time. And so, Shelby, I mean, did you have a favorite? It's kind of hard to say. Did you have a favorite Phyllis Hyman song?
Mm.
Living All Alone. Yeah, I grew up listening to Living All Alone. My aunt was a big Phyllis Hyman fan, and I would hear that in the house all the time. Living
Right.
All Alone. Yep.
Now, when I think about Phyllis Hyman, for those who are uh, repeaters of this show, I think of Whittington Steele because when that woman sings,
Oh,
she
yeah.
sounds like Phyllis Hyman.
Our
Yeah.
friend Whitney. Yeah,
Yes, yes.
Yes. Yeah. What a tragic. But she had some powerful music. Back then, that's what music was good, right? They wrote from the heart. You know what I mean?
Mhm.
They wrote from life, and it was impactful. I know that now in my later years, but earlier I was just like, man, I like that song.
Right.
I didn't know why I liked it, but it moved me back then. Now I understand why.
Mhm,
But yeah.
mhm.
Yeah. And you think about music well, I'm a young man, but I got an old soul. So when I listen to music back then compared to now, when I was younger, I just I like the song Living All Alone. But as I got older, if you listen, I'm a lyric guy. I
Uh,
listen to lyrics very heavily. And then it makes you as you get older, it's like that song was deep.
mhm, mhm. Yeah,
That's
I had that moment one time. I never forget. I was in the car, and I don't, I'm like you. My grandparents raised me, when I was growing up, so I used to hear all, the old music growing up in the house, and I was listening to Marvin Gaye, um, "What's Going On." I was young, man. I had to be in my early 20s, and it brought tears when I started thinking and listening to the lyrics. It made me very emotional. I mean, like tear joke. I had tears in my eyes driving down the road, and I was like, "Wow, this
right.
is real stuff."
Yeah.
Most I don't know that people process it like that, but I did at that age, and I was like, "Wow, man, this is music can be very deep."
Right. In music, I think whether it's instrumental, vocal, music brings out, I think, a lot of different things from a lot of different people. Wouldn't you say emotions? And as Dr. G and I always say on the show, music is medicine.
Music is medicine. Did you say?
Yes.
Oh, absolutely. Absolutely. Music is medicine. It has a lot of healing properties to it. Look, I play in church every Sunday. I'm a church boy from a very young age. And I play in church every Sunday. And, I have this thing with the musicians. Sometimes we get into ourselves. And, I'll be the first one to say, hey, listen, man, we're here to set the atmosphere for those people right there because they're coming in here for something. We set the temperature and the atmosphere, and we fill the room with this because somebody needs a breakthrough, whether it's joyful, whether it's sad, whatever that is. We set the tone for that. And so for me, music is personal, man. I don't like playing what I call um meaningless music. I don't like play meaningless music. I just don't. If you ask me to play somewhere, and you but just come and you just play by yourself. A lot of people, I just want a saxophone player to play at my wedding while I walk down. And I'll be like, yeah, okay, I can take your money. But for me, I'm like, do you know that's not impactful for me because I'm standing there alone. I don't have any accompaniment with me unless I got a smoking track, but still, I think to get what you need, at least for me, I need that interaction. I need that energy so that I can give you everything that I have on the inside of me. I want you to leave with an experience, even at a wedding, even though it's not about me. It's not about me, but it is when I'm playing. You
Right.
know, and so I have to give you something. I have to leave you with something so that you can say that wedding was awesome. Oh, and that saxophone player was really good too.
I love that. I love that. That's true.
Yeah. Yes.
And so thinking about your career, Shelby, I know you started off as a smooth jazz band leader in Detroit. You had a track out called Miracle, which came out, I think, 2003.
Yep.
Uh,
Yep, it did. Yep.
Number 7 on the DMX charts. What do you remember most about your early breakthrough?
Oh man, it was the early breakthrough. It was fascinating. It was especially for that song. It was personal. Um, I had a lot tied up. It was an emotional moment because I actually wrote that song, which was for my daughter. My daughter was born 3 months early, and they told us that she made it through the first 24 hours. She had a good chance at making it. Well, now she's 26 years old. So when I did the song, it was a tribute to her, and then for it to break through like that, I was like, wow, I'm on the right track. I can do this. It was encouraging. All of my friends that helped me do that. Me and you talked about some of them yesterday. That helped me do that, man. You know, it was just encouraging to know that I can actually get it done and that people embraced it the way that they did. So that's what I remember about it. It was so joyful, almost overwhelming.
Yeah, I love it. So who inspired you to do music?
So my granddad did actually. Um, well, like I said, we were big. I was a church boy, and my granddad always wanted me to play um, organ in church. So when I was about, I don't know, maybe 8, 7, 8, somewhere in there, we had this. He went to this music store and bought this organ and brought it into the house and was like, "Yeah, I want you to." Man, that thing looked like a demon. I didn't want to touch it. I didn't want to have no parts of that thing. I was like, man, I ain't messing with that thing.
I was
It was,
always scared of the organ as a little.
yeah, I was afraid of that thing. I was like, man, dude, you wasted your money. I don't want to be bothered with that. And man, and it sat in my house for years. I mean, he would mess with it, but it sat in the house for years. And then as I progressed, I started picking up different instruments because we have a small musical family. My grandmother's uncle was a musician, and she had some of his instruments laying around the house. So I would pick up his guitar and try to play old George Benson. As a matter of fact, I'm gonna say this, it's my dad's fault that I play saxophone
Okay.
because when I wouldn't mess with that organ, I picked up my great uncle's guitar and I would go. This was back in the 70s. I would go in the basement and put on Masquerade and Breezing and try to learn how to play it by ear, right? And then I broke a string on it. At least I thought I popped a string on it. Well, I'm a kid, so I thought it was broke. So what do kids do with broke toys?
Oh, I'm out.
That's right. We don't play with them no more. When the truth of the matter was, all he had to do was put another string on it out of it. So I could have been like Nick Coleon or somebody, Norman Brown. Who knows? The world. I
No,
guess.
we know because you got to remember when you make decisions like that, we always think that if we took a different route, it's going to always turn out better. When technically there's only a 33% chance that it would because it A could have turned out the same, B could have turned out worse.
Yep.
Well,
Yep.
see, it might have turned out better. So,
Yep.
you picked the right thing for you.
Hey, yep. I guess I did. So when growing up, I had a neighbor who he had an older brother. We were like 16, and we would dress up like Sonny Crockett and that other dude Don Johnson and what's it, the other black guy's name
Talking
on
to
Miami
Tibbs.
Vice? Yeah, Tibbs. We would dress
Mhm.
up like him, and we would go with his brother and sneak in the bars and stuff and drink Hennessy and all this, right? We was like 16, man. Couldn't get into nothing. But he was a big George Howard guy. And I didn't know anything about George Howard, but he was, he was older than us. And he was like, hey, y'all gotta, this is cool, man. You gotta listen to this. And so at like let me rewind that. He introduced us to it at like 13. So I would be in the house, man, listening to, cassette tapes of George Howard, the Love Will Follow album,
Mhm.
Yeah. And I would be
Mm.
whistling that stuff. And then when I went off to the military, after high school, man, I had every George Howard record there was. You know what I mean? Every one. And I could whistle these tunes, you know what I mean? And
Mhm.
so when I got home, I was like, well, I told you this yesterday. When
Mhm.
I was over in Iraq back in the 90s, I was like, if I make it out of this,
Right.
anything that I want to do, I'm doing it. And so when I got home, I went and bought me a saxophone from the pawn shop right down the street from the base. And
Mm.
man, they would run me out of that place. I sound like Maggie Simpson in that boy. Man, they would run me out of there. It was so funny. But yeah, that's what started it for me, and then everything else just kind of like fell in place. And George stayed I remember meeting him one day, and I was so shook and I didn't even know how to talk to him, but I met him one day before he passed. And you
Wow.
know that just kind of started it for me.
I love it. So, if I can say this, how important has your faith been to you on this journey?
Oh man, dude, it's galactically undescribable. I can, let me just say it that way. Because I am, I take faith and spirituality seriously, to the point that sometimes if I do something I know I had no business doing, when I get to church on Sunday, I can't play good. I'm convicted like that, well, I'm like, man, I can't even play the way that I want to. But yeah, big time. I mean, because you gotta have it. I mean, in this business, it's faith, the substance of things hoped for. All of that is real in this business, because there's no balance for it, right? You do
Right.
the music, you do the best job you can, you do the music, and then you hire people that you have faith that's going to do the right thing when you hand over these thousands of dollars to promote your song, right? And
Right.
then you sit back and you oh lordy, you exercising a whole lot of faith, the substance of things hoped for, right?
Yeah.
And yeah, you doing it, and then when you see it manifest, it's like, okay, thank you, and then there's the other side of the coin. When you don't see it happen, you go, okay, well, what happened,
Yeah.
yeah, yeah,
Okay.
it's big for me.
So, can you say, is it a sacrifice for you to play jazz music?
No, it's not a sacrifice. I remember growing up in church, they wouldn't allow, in the early church, wouldn't allow saxophone players to come in. Like when I came home in '97, and I had my horn, and I was, you got off when you go to church and play, and they say he's gonna bless you in his own way. He's gonna come and bless you in his own way. That mean I don't I don't endorse it. Just take it how it come, right? But no, they wouldn't allow saxophone players to play. Them old preachers, Kojic preachers, man, Baptist preachers, they wouldn't let you come in there and play no horn. It was worldly music, secular music. And my argument to that was this, and this is why it's not a sacrifice to me. You know, God put it in me. Just because it don't have words doesn't mean it's not spiritual. You know, when you read David, about David, it said David was a skillful musician. It didn't say nothing about singing. It said that he played. It didn't say that he sang, right?
It's
You know what
true.
I'm
That's
saying?
true. That's true.
When you talking about the walls of Jericho and you marching around, look, I don't want to go there because I told you I was a church boy, and they talking about let the trumpet sound. You know what I'm saying? Those boys was playing, right? When so no, it's not a sacrifice to me. You know, music is a manifestation of yourself. If you are a spiritual person, a soulful person, an energetic person, whatever, a romantic person, it's going to come out in your music. If you're going to pervert the music, it's going to come out in your music. So,
Hmm.
no, because I know who I am, and I know who I am, and what I do, and I know that God is in me, Christ is in. Yeah, I don't have a problem with playing jazz anywhere. In fact, if you come to one of my shows, you might hear me throw a gospel tune in there. You know, I might play a line
Okay.
from It's My Season, or
Right.
you might hear a line from Bless the Lord in there. I mean, I'm just saying, because that's who I am, right? So, I'm sorry, I'm passionate about that thing, y'all. Look, look, you got me.
Well,
You got me preaching. I might have to get my cash app out.
that's,
Look, pass the collection plate. Put your little offer in.
there you go.
Ah,
That's what we
okay.
need. And so going back to after the Meaning of Life project, you kind of took a hiatus or a reset, right? So
Yeah.
before returning with your latest single, Gravity, what emotions or experiences shaped that decision for you to come back?
So, yeah, I took a long break, man, because I never wanted to. I always wanted to be a professional musician. I never wanted to, you know, hold the job as long as I did. I'm thankful that I did now in hindsight, because it allows me to move differently, with pensions and stuff like that, right? But I always wanted to be a professional musician, and at some point in my life, I just said, you know what, I gotta finish. Let me just focus on my career.
Mhm.
Let me focus on getting out of here at an age that I can get a young enough age where I can go and I can live life really good. And that's what I did. So I focused on my military career to finish that up, my law enforcement career, and I finished that up. And then when those pension checks started coming, I was like, hey man, it wasn't so bad. That wasn't a bad idea. you
Right.
know, that
There
wasn't a
you
bad
go.
idea. And so after I did that, I continued to play. I never stopped playing. In fact, I played in church faithfully, and I've surrounded myself with musicians that could help me grow. And
Mhm.
so after during COVID, like when I did the Chico DeBarge tune, I reached out to one of my good friends and accomplished musicians here, and I was like, "Hey man, I got these tunes. I want you to listen to them and tell me what you think." And because I was getting ready to deal with somebody that I didn't know. Remember, we talk about faith, right, in this business. And so I was getting ready to deal with somebody on the other side of the country that I didn't know. I had no idea who he was, but he was recommended to me. And you just got to remember, man, a lot of people say that they can do things. They solicit you with good intentions only to produce bad intentions. They and not deliver on the things that they promise. And I didn't want to do that. So, and then I'm at the point now to where if I'm going to invest, I want to invest in my own community. I don't want to invest in, on the other side of the country, not knowing this person, when I can invest with somebody that's right here in my community, and I know him, he's tangible, I can put my hands on him. And so, not like that though, but I mean, in the sense that, he's there and he was my friend. And so, I let him listen to the music, and he said to me, "Hey man, you should give me a shot at producing it." And I was like, "Well, yeah, because he's accomplished, and he's accomplished in the industry as a producer, the whole gold and platinum record thing." So I had total faith in him, and he sent me a song back that I had wrote, and man, I was like, I sat there when I listened to it. I sat in my car, And I mean, I'm an emotional person anyway. So the older I get, the more emotional I get. I started watering up, and I was like, man, I called him back. I said, dude, I can't believe that this is my tune. And he was like, yep, we can record it when you're ready. And it started with that one song. It's called Sweet 110. It's on the Gravity album. And so when he did that, it just went from there. I enjoyed it so much. I was like, hey man, can you write me another song? And so, as a matter of fact, he might have did that on purpose. He might have been setting me up. Now that I think about it, I'm gonna call this Joker. But
Give you just enough. Give
yeah,
you just enough.
yeah,
Give you
just
just
he
enough.
reeled me in. So after that, he started sending me tunes but realistically, it was just my time. I think God does things for a reason. Things happen when they're supposed to happen. I
100%.
was told
100%.
I was told years ago that the definition of success is when time and opportunity, or when preparation and opportunity meets. And
Right.
so I had been preparing myself the whole time for this opportunity. And he wrote the whole album for me. And man, I am so proud of this body of work. This
Wow.
is, yeah, I mean, when I listen to it, I can listen to it and feel comfortable that I sit with the rest of my musical peers in the saxophone genre. It is that way for me. Whereas before, I can admit that prior recordings needed a little work, and I wasn't that person that musician that I was aspiring to be at that time. But after working with him, and man, this is it, right?
I
I'm
love
elated.
I love that show. And for people that are watching the show, if you go back and watch the replay, we're talking with recording artist Shelby Brown is our special guest tonight. Don't forget to go over to Shelby Brown, his website, which is also streaming right here on the link. Go buy some music. And I know we're probably going to run a little over the time, ShelbyBrownJazzMusic.com, because we started a little late, y'all, because I know Chef D and Dr.G gonna get me because I have to get some of these things out.
I just want to know. I just want to understand how just that fast he threw me and Chef under the bus,
Ah.
like a speed bump.
It's
Oh, okay.
so that means, Shelby, you're gonna have to come back on the show too. But like continuing that conversation, I know you performed alongside other artists like Bob Baldwin, Marion Meadows, Nick Spolion. How did those collaborations influence your sound? And 30 seconds.
How did they influence my sound?
Mhm.
So Marion, after you know George, I migrated to Marion because I was always a soprano guy. In fact, that was the instrument that I learned how to play saxophone on. That was my first horn. And so every time Marion would come to town, I would you know, plow through the crowd, use my law enforcement credentials to be like, yo. And so, we became very good friends actually, and we still are. He was very influential. He would allow me to sit in on his shows when he would come to Detroit, or if he was in the metro area, he'd be like, hey man, I'm in Cleveland. And I boat 2.5 hours down there, and he'd let me play on his show. And so how people rub off on you. It's just like you hang out with friends long enough and you start laughing alike and liking the same stuff. And that's how it was. I remember one day I was in church playing my soprano, and another saxophone player was like, man, your tone, you sound just like Marion. And so I knew at that point I was on to something. And then it just started to morph into something different, right? Nick Coleon was, I met him here in Detroit. I just walked up to him one day. He was playing, and actually I was on the show, the festival that he was playing at, and we developed a relationship. I walked up to him, introduced myself, and then I called him and was like, hey man, I'm working on a record. Would you mind playing on it for me? And he was very, very personal. I mean, I can say this now, he rest his soul. He only charged me like $500. He was like, listen, I'm all about empowerment. He said, I'm all about empowerment, and I'm all about lifting you up. Yeah, I'll play on your record. Can you afford $500? And I was like, yep. And he was like, send me the song. And I sent it to him, and he didn't shortchange me. And that song was called All Out. And I think it did like 60,000 60 is still climbing on Spotify. I get the streams on that song is crazy. But you know, he inspired me. He was never, you know, like, hey man, you need to do this, you need to do that. Bob was a mentor as well, in his own right. Bob was a little hard on me. Bob, the kind of dude that hit you in the mouth. You should have played a C sharp over that thing, man, as opposed, you know. but I appreciated that because he told me the truth, right? And so had he not done that, then you know, he was just correcting me. It was just good criticism. And so all of those guys, you know, they kind of morphed me because coming up, you know, my peers didn't tell me whether they didn't know how or they just let you, you know, leave it to yourself, you know, the importance of tone and the importance of sound and how to look inside the music to pull the music out, right? And so it wasn't until I got with, and I'll just say his name if that's okay, till I got with Randy Scott, who actually wrote this record. He's, you know, he kind of took over that mentor role for me. And, you know, working with him and some of the other guys was just, but on with him was more personal because he plays saxophone as well. So, you know, he was able to kind of give me that mold, that extra that I was looking for to push me over the edge. And so, yeah, man, that's how it kind of all, you know, blossomed for me. And it's just not him. I could be here on all day talking, naming musicians that I kind of mentored me up and brought me along the way. But yes, I've had a lot of love in these late years, man. So, and I appreciate it so much.
And so we have a comment here that keeps coming up about
Going back to the pension and the Hennessy. That is, no, we cannot go back to that. We're going to just move on. We're going to move on.
Hey, all I can say is it feels good getting a check every month on time, and you don't have to work for it. Yes. Yes.
Well, you work for it. You owe that. You
well,
owe that.
I'm
for your
owed that,
service.
but I mean, you know, when I wake up and then, you know, and check is there on time, you know. So
okay,
yeah,
okay.
Good.
We love that. And so, you know, everybody, Shelby is also back. He has a new release. It's titled Gravity. And I know you worked on that with Randy Scott. And I want to play a snippet of him performing that right here on Artist Talking. Let's check that out real quick. That's a bad song, yo. That's a bad song. That's a show.
Thank you. I appreciate that.
That song just give good energy too. Just keep you like,
yes.
So we know your music spans smooth jazz ballads to upbeat grooves. What do you think is the core theme or emotion you aim to convey across your work?
Say it again. You kind of.
What do you think is the core theme or emotion you aim to convey across your work?
Energy, positive energy. Yeah, that's what I want to convey. You know, so we were doing a record, and Randy was, you know, I'll say this, he's a balladeer, and I was like, man, I don't want to play all them slow songs. Give me some energy, and he did just that. Wait till you hear. You know, I got song like Spice on the record, Afterglow, you know, it's full of energy and life. And that's what I am, man. I'm a part-time comedian. You know, I like to laugh. I got good positive energy that I like to convey. And so I think that's what I bring out in my music.
And so there's a comment from Kenneth Wynn. He said, it feels like I have WVAS on. Oh. Yeah, and we play the song at WVAS too, Ken.
On
And
Saturdays.
yeah. And so Shelby, also I'm looking on my I'm looking on my Twitter page and TikTok page. And people's like, do you have physical copies of CDs? Where can they buy your new music? Where can they get your music?
Right. So physical copies of The Meaning of Life, yes. And you can just order that through like Amazon or the website. As far as the new record is concerned, the new record I won't have any physical copies until September. I'm still in the single phase. However, it is on all of your favorite streaming and downloading platforms that you like to go to. All of them. Deezer, Napster, iTunes, CD Baby, Spotify. You know, I have a ton of music on YouTube, so it's all there, available for your listening pleasure.
Okay, I love that. And real quick, can you tell us, you recently did a soulful tribute to Grover Washington Jr. And tell us about it real quick.
Oh man, I'm gonna tell you. First, let me say this: when they asked me to do it, I did it, and then I accepted the gig, and then after I accepted it, I was like, "What did I just do? I don't know no Grover songs at all." And then I was like, man, Grover just wasn't a guy that I listened to growing up. And then I got home and I started going through his discography. And I was like, I know that song. I know that song. I know that song. So then I put this song list together and it was phenomenal. I had the best time. I've been asked to repeat the show a couple of times already. Since I did that gig in May, I've done it again. Somebody else just asked me to perform that show again. I have so much fun doing it, and it's really, I'm really humbled by it because, I don't, Grover was, what can you say, right? I mean, and for me to do it and for people to, accept and willing to, embrace my, renditions of and arrangements of the songs, man, it's an awesome feeling. So yeah, that was powerful, man. I really appreciate the opportunity to do that too.
Okay. And
nice.
This has been a wonderful conversation. And I had a trivia game that I had just started that we were going to play on the show. And it was like 10 questions, but I'm going to do 5. I know they're going to be mad at me. I'm just going to do 5. And it's real quick. So, man, Grover, a pension and Hennessy, you living the life.
And for the record, I don't even drink Hennessy no more. That was when I was a kid. I can't take that stuff no more.
And so, Shelby, I have this game. It's called Jazz It or Pass It. So I'm gonna ask you 5 questions. Jazz it or you can pass it. So the first question is fusion jazz with trap beats.
Jazz it.
Okay. Touring with Herbie Hancock.
Jazz it.
Pineapple on your pizza.
Oh, pass it. Who does that?
Hawaiian people. Why Hawaiian pineapple pizza? I don't even sound right.
No.
Performing at a sunrise concert on the beach.
Say it again.
Performing at a sunrise concert on the beach.
Oh yeah, jazz it.
A duet with Anita Baker.
Oh, jazz it.
Collaborating with a gospel choir.
I'm gonna jazz that too.
Okay. What about smooth jazz Mondays or funk Fridays?
Smooth. Yep. Yep. Jazz it.
Jazz it. Okay.
Jazz it.
That's it, y'all. I know we went over time, but that's okay. So that means, Shelby, you have to come back on the show, right, Dr.G?
That's right. You went easy on me.
Right.
I was expecting something real hard. Then you went easy on me, probably because of the time, right?
Yeah.
No. We're fair here. We're fair here.
Okay.
So what's coming up for you next? Where you go?
I'm in the mastering phase of the record of finishing up Gravity. That should be done here in the next couple of weeks. I have some private functions coming up here in Detroit, Chicago, and Cleveland. But you can always look on my website to see where I'm going to be. That's ShelbyBrownJazzMusic.com. I'm always, posting stuff, letting folks know where I'm at. When I get a nice performance, I always put it up on YouTube or TikTok or IG. You can follow me on Facebook, Shelby Brown Jazz. On Facebook, Shelby Brown Jazz 3954 on IG, and it's just Shelby Brown Jazz on TikTok. So I'm all over the place, and I'm always posting content, going live, whatever I'm doing, whether it be music, exoneration fairs, working with my proud fraternity, Phi Beta Sigma Fraternity Incorporated. You know what I'm saying? Yeah, everything that we do there, I'm posting all kind of stuff. So yeah, just keep up with me.
I love it. Any final words for you, Dr. G?
Just be good to yourself, be good to others.
Yes.
We love that. And Shelby, can you stick around for just a second?
Absolutely.
All right, everybody. Hey, everybody. Another great conversation in the show. So I hope everything was, probably I was buffering a little bit, the weather a little crazy, but it was just a great conversation. Another wrap for today's episode, but a big thanks to Shelby Brown for hanging out with myself and Dr. G, sharing his story, his sound, and some serious wisdom. If you haven't already, go check out his latest single, Gravity, and dive into his past work. It's a vibe from start to finish. You can find him at shelbybrownjazzmusic.com. Follow him on all socials sites to keep up with his shows and new releases. Right, Dr. G?
That's right. Don't sleep on it because you're going to miss it.
You're sleeping. And don't forget to follow Dr. G, Dr. Graham at theapplife.info.
Any questions about what we talk about, you can always email me. I will need 2 forms of ID and insurance card, but I'll bill you. No, I'm just playing. Some people I know still have questions. I try to answer all of them that I see on Facebook and stuff, but you can always hit me an email. I'll answer some stuff for you guys.
All right. And again, KWardRadio.com is my website, my YouTube channel. KWard Radio 6084 is my YouTube channel. And for those, please go up and subscribe to the page, because I may just be only doing the show on YouTube only, because a lot of times these restrictions with Facebook and all of this. So it's best that you just follow the YouTube channel, because we don't really have any issues over there. Anyone that would like to support the show, that information is listed there. Join me each and every Saturday on WVAS 90.7. If you'd like to send me some CDs, my address is listed there as well. So again, everybody, thank you for listening. As always, stay tuned, stay inspired, and we will catch you next time.